Have you settled the score about the drop chain?
No, it's written down.
It's Baden Cook. I completely forgot about Baden Cook.
He forgot about
I think it's a bit surprised that I won.
There's not many occasions where you actually set a plan and they actually come off.
Hearing that from him, gives me goosebumps.
Cadell Evans cannot be beaten now.
This is the first time I hear Stewie and Andy's side of the story.
And I took a cab home in the Magna Rosa, and the cab driver did not believe me that was actually the pink jersey. Why the hell would you be in my cab?
What I've learned through my life is everything is just a phase,
It's a real pleasure for me to be able to come back and jump on here with you guys because I admire what you do. I really do.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another edition of the Detour podcast. Normally we say the Detour live, but we're not live today, Iffy, and the anxiety levels have plummeted.
Oh, well, I was never anxious about it. I caused all the problems, but I was never anxious about it. Anyway.
Oh, mate. Just every time we went live, okay, we love the interaction live with, people tuning in and putting in comments and that, but just in the modern world of tech issues, it's great having the ability to chop stuff out. And we've got a bunch of interviews coming up. We obviously speak to, Grace Brown, Luke Plapp, Tim Decker, and Liz Hepple. So there's a fair bit of content to get through. But particularly with Grace, she had a few internet issues. So we were able to chop out all the dead spots, mate. So we dodged
so
a bullet.
Did Plappy. So we dodged a couple of bullets because Plappy had the same. So anyway, all good.
But before we get into our first chat that we did with Grace Brown, it's obviously been a pretty big couple of weeks since we were last on the pod. The Tour de France Femme is wrapped up, and what an epic finale to that race, mate.
Oh, wow. It's as good a stage as I've seen in a Tour de France, men or women. And it turned out being the closest of all time, even past was it 89 or whatever when... or 87 when Le Mans won by 8 seconds. Well, now 4 seconds. And it was only 10 seconds back to third place overall. I mean, it was a staggering stage. Staggering.
Yeah, and great to see him racing up Alpe d'Huez, which is obviously an iconic climb in the men's event. But you'd think that particularly in France after the Olympics, I mean, they just love sport and great crowds for the Tour de France Femme as well.
Yeah, sensational. I mean, the crowds at the beginning of the tour in Rotterdam were as big as any crowds have been in the men's Tour de France. So it really is coming of age. And already the stories are coming through that's going to be increased more days again. So for next year, which is as it should be. And it becoming so much more professional. The quality of the racing is what's really standing out to me. They're going really hard over mountains, and there's large groups still there. That wasn't the case just a couple of years ago. So, it really is stepping up. Fantastic.
As we said, we're going to touch on that. You're going to wrap things up with Liz Hepple at the end of the show, but we're going to kick things off with an interview with Australia's first gold medalist from the Paris 2024 Olympics, Grace Brown. She's been on the show a few times, but we thought we'd check in with her and see how life's changed since she won gold. All right, huge guest, Johnny. Huge guest. One of the biggest.
Yeah, big drum roll, because here we are, Grace Brown, Olympic gold medalist. How's that sound?
It sounds pretty good. Still getting used to it, to be honest. But yeah, happy with that one.
Is that the most common intro you've had on any media you've done since you won the gold? Like Olympic gold medalist, how does that? Is it processed yet?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the general intro. So, but still haven't got used to it.
I got to say, we're lucky enough to be mates with you, and we talk to you regularly, and you come to our Mayor's lunches and all of that. And in the weeks leading up, every time I messaged you or spoke with you, you sounded so confident. I mean, I know it was frustratingly the last 2 world titles to lose by just such a handful of seconds. You were determined that wasn't going to happen here.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I felt like I'd had a really good preparation and everything was going well. And really that's all you can ask for heading into a big goal like that, because there's usually some sort of bad luck that trips you up. So, yeah, I knew that I was in shape to do it, but still there's little doubts that creep in despite the general confidence.
How did you go on the day, Grace? Like, obviously the weather was a big talking point, and, you know, it claimed victim to a lot of riders in those tricky conditions. But how did you approach that when you saw, okay, it's going to be a wet one?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone was hoping that maybe the rain would clear or not come or something, but we knew a couple of days out that it was going to be wet. So just chose to accept that. And the main thing, I was just annoyed that, like, I'd practiced all these corners at full speed, and I knew that I was going to have to to revise that and go a bit slower. And when you're just trying to go full steam, like sitting up early for a corner, washing off speed, it's just really frustrating. But yeah, I just replanned my corners, and was quite comfortable with the speed that I had to do through them, and maybe got a bit lucky.
Luck was nothing to do with it, but I was very impressed because I read stories afterwards where people were trying to give you information about where people were crashing and all of that, and you said, no, I don't want that. I just let me ride my race. You didn't want to get all the negative build-up. Is that the case?
Well, yeah, I didn't actually. I saw one image before I started of a competitor crashing, and other than that, I didn't realise that so many other competitors were coming down on the course, and we didn't really discuss it. But yeah, Dean Bates, who was on the radio behind me, wisely chose not to tell me about it, because, you know, when you know that lots of competitors are coming down, then you get a little tense and don't take the corners as well yourself. So yeah, better to be in ignorance about that one, I think.
In Australia, of course, it was enormous because it was the first gold medal of any for any sport for the Aussies, and that, you know, was amazing. But what's it been like with the since that's happened, with all of the news from home? And I mean, I'm sure you've been in demand for the media.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind since the race. Just lots of attention, lots of media, and yeah, it's just been really nice. Everyone supporting from Australia, just feeling a lot of love from everyone. So just soaking all that up while it's there, because I know that it doesn't last forever.
And another good story was, obviously, you're from Camperdown. It's not a big town at all, you know, a rural country town in Victoria. And obviously Penny Smith, the shooter who got bronze. I mean, surely there's got to be plans for one of the biggest celebrations in the history of Camperdown.
Yeah, Camperdown has definitely pushed above its weight this Olympics, and yeah, the whole town's really stoked, both with my medal and with Penny Smith. And so there's a clock tower in the centre of town, and yeah, they've decorated. They've got lights on it at night in green and gold to celebrate our Olympics success. So really cool for the small town of Camperdown.
Grace, it's the dream of a lot of children just to compete in the Olympics, just to represent your country. But, you know, a lot of them say, well, one day I'd love to win a gold medal. But what I'm fascinated is, what was that feeling like when you're on the hot seat? You know, you're the first rider to ride under 40 minutes, but when that realization, oh my God, this has actually happened. What is that feeling like for a young person watching this and hoping for one day that comes true?
Yeah, it's sort of hard to describe. I think I've sort of had the realization in the last couple of kilometers of my race that yeah, that I probably had won the race, and at that point it was just excitement, because, you know, it was still in the moment, hadn't quite been realized. And then yeah, once I only had Chloe Dygert behind me, so once she crossed the line and it was clear that I was the fastest time, it was just I don't know. It's sort of hard to describe because it's something that you like chase after for so long, and then it comes and it's just a bit unreal. But what makes it real, I think, is once you get to share it with all the people that have been on the journey with you. So yeah, I've had my husband Elliot there, and my parents made it into the grandstands. My coach and yeah, the Oz cycling crew as well. Just everyone that had been on the journey with me, and the excitement and the raw emotion of it all. That's what makes it real. And super special, yeah.
I love that when they interviewed your mum and dad on the side of the road while the race was going on, and it was just fantastic.
Yeah, I think they were more excited than me. Almost, they were just they get really wrapped up in my racing. So, it was really awesome, and yeah, brought tears to my eyes watching the replay of that one.
And it's the most common response when you put the medal around your family and your friends' neck. Jeez, it's heavy.
Yes. Yeah, it's so heavy. Like unexpectedly so. Like I don't know, you think that it'll be like weighty, but really it's a heavy metal. And yeah, you feel it pull down on your neck. So it's pretty cool.
That's
Well,
awesome.
it's got part of the Eiffel Tower in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you can answer a question we've been debating. Dan and I want to know what's in the box that they give you at the medal ceremony.
Oh, it's just like a little poster. Yeah, it's a poster of Paris, really, like a illustration. So, bit random.
Straight to the pool room.
They could have
Straight
wrapped
to
it
the
up
pool
and made
room.
it look a little bit nicer than the cardboard box.
Really appreciate your time, Grace, and wish
Really
all the
good,
best
Dale.
for the Tour de France fan.
All right.
See you now. Bye.
Yeah, see you guys.
Fantastic stuff there from Grace. Didn't have the Tour de France femme that she would have hoped for, Iffy. Obviously, a bit of bad luck throughout the race.
Yeah, well, she was going in there, with mainly a domestic role, but she really wanted to do a good time trial. But she punctured slow wheel change, so that was the end of that. But very strong in the last few days. She's a powerful bike rider. But no change on the retiring bit. She's no matter what people are trying to say to her, no, she knows her time is done. She's happy, and what a season! I mean, to not only win a gold medal in Paris, but win Liège, Bastogne-Liège, one of the big classics, monument. It's just an amazing season.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. And another phenomenal story is Tim Decker, and in particular the team's pursuit, what they managed to achieve at the Olympics this year. Because going into it, they weren't the favourites. I mean, everyone was talking about particularly the Italians and Ghana, and you saw what happened when the Aussies hit the track and blitzed them straight off the gun. I mean, the Italians looked rattled, but Tim Decker is obviously a big part of the success of that. And it's a shame that they don't give medals to the coaches, Iffy. I reckon they should.
I reckon they should as well, because they're very, very much part of it. We would have had a couple of extra Aussies getting gold medals, because Gary Sutton was the coach of the women test pursuit, an Aussie with the Americans. Wrong country, but anyway. I think he's heading back to Australia next year. I wonder what if you'll take a role back with Australian cycling. We'll see.
Well, here's the interview with Tim Decker, who's the head endurance coach for the track program.
Okay, Detour fans, we said we have one superstar. Well, we've got another superstar. Timmy Decker, great Australian cycling coach, just back from the Paris Olympics. Timmy, firstly, welcome back to Oz.
Great to be back. It's been a long time overseas. I think I calculated this year I've spent 105 days away from the family overseas out of 227 so far. So good to be home.
Yeah, Congratulations, mate. I mean, no one was picking you to win the gold medal here. The general consensus, well, they might get up for another bronze, but you certainly changed all of that. No, well, I should have spoken to you and not the other clowns that are around the place. But
you should, yeah.
welcome and congratulations. I mean, take us through it. I mean, to break the world record, that was just staggering. Did you expect that?
I'd always thought that it would be possible to get close to the world record again, because you've got to be prepared in an Olympic Games to be around that mark if you want to be challenging for gold medals. And look, we just that night that they broke the world record, the boys were really on. We had a plan around making sure that we were well ahead before Ganna took over in his last turn, because Ganna is such a phenomenal athlete. You can't give him, if you give him half a second to run you down, he'll find a way. He's such a champion. But I mean, having said that, we also have a champion in Sam Wilson, and this Olympics he got to show what his real character is. The last Olympics there was with the misfortune he didn't get to ride fourth wheel, but having a smooth run into this Olympics and allowing him to go in that fourth wheel position and really finish strong, Sam got to show what his capabilities were as well. And so we didn't want Ganna to be close to us, even though I think Sam matched him. So we got up early, and yeah, it was phenomenal.
Now, you touched on the little thing of before, so let's go back to Tokyo with that disaster of the broken head stem and young Alec Porter going down in a screaming heap. To come back from, I mean, brilliant that we ended up getting the bronze medal. I say we because it's us.
Well, we're all Aussie, aren't we? We're all Australian. We're all in.
But probably a bit fortunate in some ways with it with the Poms, but so from there, you left after that. What brought you back?
The knowledge that that there was unfinished business, and that I knew that these guys had the capability of winning the Olympics, and that really drew me back. And I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let Australia down. And I always believed that we could win, and to actually make it happen is the next big step. Like, it's easy to say things, it's very hard to do them or back them up. But in this case, it managed to come together really well. So
now, before we get into the actual Olympics, and you could take us through the big ride, just how hard is it to, if you've got 4 bike riders that you've got full access to, and you can train them for a team pursuit, that's fine. But when 2 of them are World Tour pros, how hard is it to get them together and to get them to mould them into a team's pursuit?
Look, I think what we shouldn't forget is, Sam Welsford has 10 years in the national track program behind him, and Cal O'Brien has 7 years. So them going to the World Tour makes it tougher. Given that Sam is with Bora, you're trying to build that relationship and get them to believe in what you need to do for him to perform at his best. And Kel being at Green Edge, obviously that's easier, and we have a good relationship with Green Edge and Whitey. And they were all in to try and help achieve this goal for Kel. So designing Kel's race program with Green Edge, or that they set the race program we look at when we need the training camps, you know, and then allowing him to get that time off to be able to do that training is important. It's a lot more challenging, yes, because there's so many more uncontrollables. So i.e. races, race accidents, your health, all those sorts of things, and ever-changing programs. You know, we know in the road scene, you know, accidents, health, that has an impact on riders going in and out of races. So having those teams on side was pretty important, and getting them to understand the need of what we needed to do to bring these guys together was important as well. But it does have a lot more challenges, and they're one side of it, I guess.
Yeah. And I know that Jerry was very excited that you guys won the gold medal, of course. But Cal being, you say greenheads, but Jaco Alula rider, yeah, he was as proud as punch.
Yeah, no.
Now, take us through the final. How nervous were you for the start? How were the boys on the start line? Because it ended up being a nail biter.
Yeah, it did, and look, the whole lead-in is something. I mean, it's the Olympics for a reason, and you know, you got to be able to handle that pressure and stay calm, and you know, really believe in what you're doing and your process as you're leading into the games. And we'd done a bit of a hit out about 10 days before in a standing 4K, and we knew that we were moving reasonably well, and we still had to freshen up. So I knew that there was the potential of a couple of seconds coming off the time that we did. So we had the qualifying. We actually did a flying 4K hit out 3 days before the qualifying, and we went 3 seconds faster than we've ever gone before, and so that gave us good belief that we were heading in the right direction. But then once we did qualifying and we went off third last, you know, we set the fastest time. And then the two teams that went after us went out chasing it and couldn't match it. You know, they fell away in the last kilometres. That then built our confidence. So we had good belief. You know, once we'd done the qualifying, that then built our confidence that we're in a good place. And we'd done a lot of preparation mentally on our mindset to be good for the 3 days, because you know, you have to win the Olympic Games on that third day, and it's actually quite tense doing 1 TP per day over 3 days. You know, you've got 23 hours and 56 minutes and 20 seconds of the rest of the day to think about what the next race is going to be like, you know. So it can be quite tense, you know. But as I said, once we qualified well, that gave us confidence. Then, you know, we were racing the defending Olympic champions. We didn't want to give them an inch. You know, we didn't want Ghana to be in the race with, you know, within 4 laps to go. So it was about building our lead before he took over, and you know, we rode really well in that, and that's when we broke the world record, because we started to get them inside a little bit. But then, you know, coming into the final, you break a world record, you're 1.3 seconds faster than everybody else. You know, having the weight of your nation on the athlete's shoulders is it can be quite stressful, and it's something that we tried to push aside, and you know, I tried to take a lot of weight of that, so that they could focus on executing their race well and winning that gold medal, because, you know, world records, they'll always be broken at some stage, but those Olympic gold medals that those 4 boys have got, that they can never be taken away. So, coming into day 3, it was really about nailing our process again, understanding what the Brits' strengths and weaknesses were, and making sure we knew where we were and where we were strong and how we could hold them. And, there's a couple of little things that I have in my, up my coaching sleeve to give them the belief that they could achieve it. And we knew it was going to be hard pressed for them to beat us. Not being overconfident, but we'd had a good 2 days, and there was no reason why we couldn't back up on that 3rd day. And it showed that we did back up well. Our team rode together and rode very smooth and flawlessly, didn't fall apart. And because we'd noticed over the last couple of days that GB had been, breaking apart in the last lap and a half or so. So
they certainly did.
Yeah, and if they were going to come at us, and try and match us on that day 3, then they needed. We were at war. That they needed to be prepared to go super deep, and in the end, it was, we were 0.2 ahead, but we'd been 0.2 ahead for quite some time, and it was more than likely going to stay that way. And then in the end, they started to fall apart again in the last lap.
Well, Ethan Hayter just seemed like he did a great ride up until that moment. He reduced the gap a fraction in that last lap and a bit. I think he went a lap too far myself, but as it turns out, he probably did. But yeah, I mean, he didn't just slip off the seat. He actually collapsed because he just pushed himself so far. Doesn't slip off the seat, he probably gets dropped anyway. You know what I mean? He didn't slip off the seat.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are going so deep into their reserves, and they're doing it 3 days in a row, and you might think, oh, it's only 3 minutes 40, but it's everything they're getting out of their body at high powers and high cadences. And Ethan had been doing a very similar role to what Sam had been doing, which is taking that load of those last 3.5 to 4 laps or 4.5 laps. And he in the end, Cal O'Brien spoke to him, and he just said to Cal, I had nothing, and I collapsed in the upper body basically, and then which caused him to slip forward of the seat and not be able to sustain it. So it was amazing.
Overall, a wonderful performance from the cycling team all round, with Grace starting it all with that amazing win in
time trial. It was phenomenal, wasn't it?
It was just sensational. She just killed it. And then, of course, the boys, Maddie Richardson and Maddie Glazer. I thought it was a lovely finale for them to get silver and bronze in the Kieran at the end. It would have been nice with gold and silver, but that big Dutchman's pretty hard to beat. But it was a wonderful effort, and great for Matty Glazer for his finale to an amazing Olympic campaign.
Yeah. It's so good to see him persist and get some reward and get an Olympic medal. Well, he ended up with 2 Olympic medals. They got bronze in the team sprint, and then he got bronze in the Kieran. So amazing that he's been at it for this was his fourth Olympics, and he got some just rewards for all his hard work.
Well, it's a beautiful story in that he's come back from from cancer, and that would finish most sportsmen. But top end sprinting, which is power going like that, to come back it's very impressive. But you yourself, Timmy, you weren't too well not that long ago. You managed to make a bit of a mess of yourself. You seem to be back in top form, mate.
Yeah, look, I have had a couple of accidents over my lifespan, and the last, it was 2019, the last one, where I had to have some brain surgery from an accident out in a group ride, and look, the reality is, when you do a head injury or you have brain surgery, that there's a couple of years there until you start to feel back to your normal 100% self. And I think I was very close to that at the Tokyo Games, and it was probably a blessing in disguise that Tokyo got delayed a year. And then honestly, having a year's break after the games and trying something different, it was needed, and it actually gave me time to prepare for the next 2 years of coming back into Cycling Australia and preparing for the Olympics. I'm not saying that was pre-planned, but it was, that's how the stars align sometimes, don't they? And the job that I originally held was up for grabs again and advertised, and I knew that I had to apply for it and see if I could win my job back, or win my old job back, and get back in with the guys for the last 2 years leading into Paris. Yeah.
Timmy, great to have you as always, and looking forward to catching up very soon. One last question. What gear did they ride?
Well, if I told you that, I'd have to kill you. No, jokes. No, look, they all, Connor and Sam rode the same gear. And then Ollie rode a smaller gear, and Kel was a little bit in between both of them. So they all had their own individual gears on.
So you're telling me nothing. But it's around 120. Is that true? They're riding around 120 inch gear?
Nah, it's bigger than that. It's bigger.
Bigger?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
The variation was from 123.5 to 126.
Bloody hell. That is just amazing. All right, mate. Well, look, thanks again. Thanks heaps. Congratulations. It's just we all are are you a big debt of in gratitude, mate, because seriously, what you did was just staggering, and really proud of you, mate.
Yeah, thanks. Look, it hasn't happened overnight, and it hasn't happened without good people around me, and that's certainly important to it. So there's been some good people around me, including my wife, who's put up with me through all this time. So yeah,
she's a legend. I love the footage on Facebook of meeting at the airport. It was great stuff.
Yeah. It was nice to get home.
All right, bud. Look after
yourself. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Now, another regular on the show, Johnny, is, of course, Luke Plapp, diehard Carlton supporter. I'd like giving him a bit of a ribbing before you did the interview with him, given that the Hawks pumped him last week. But tragic
football.
Yeah, tragic circumstances for his time trial ride at the Olympics. You obviously talked to him about the injury, but he was on a good ride too, up until when he crashed.
He would go for a medal. He's known for how well he finishes. He was only 4 seconds down on Evenepoel. I mean, that's seriously big stuff. He was up. So it's a shame that he's also not going to now be able to ride the world titles. So yeah, double whammy.
All right. Well, here's the interview Johnny had with Luke Plapp earlier today.
Okay, Luke Plapp, our Australian road champion, and three in a row. I'd just like to firstly congratulate you on an absolutely brilliant preparation for the Olympics, and you were on a ride. And of course, we know now that it all come unstuck. Just take us through it, mate.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing 4 months, to be honest, building up to the games, to be able to go home to Australia after the Giro and just have a specific prep for that. Everything was perfect, and mentally it was the best thing possible. And got on the start line of the games and was in pretty great headspace, and I knew the legs were there. And we got halfway through the race almost. The first time check was looking really good and in and around the medals, and just before I crashed, we were around that second place mark and it was looking amazing. But unfortunately, came down on one of the roundabouts, put myself into a barrier, and put the barrier through my spleen and my bowel, and spent 5 days in hospital and had surgery. And still actually not back on the bike now. I'm currently on my way to Nice for a bit of an off-season break on the beach there and catch up with some mates. So it's it's been a bit hard having so long off the bike, and what could have been such an amazing race and built towards the end of the year and to Worlds is now put a stop to my season.
It was, I remember talking to you just a few days after the accident. You were still in hospital and you said it cut into you like a cookie cutter. The way you described it, it must have been pretty horrific.
Yeah, I just slid straight into the leg of the barrier, and it went all the way through me, took a massive chunk of skin out, and damaged the bowel and intestines in the middle as well. So there was surgery internally, and then obviously they had to stitch up the outside of my body as well, which is a nice little scar. It's funny, I've got the Olympic rings tattoo after Tokyo, and right underneath them I've got a massive scar to remember Paris. So hopefully we can add a bit of a different memory in LA.
Look, that was just, you're only 4 seconds down on eventual winner of Evenepoel when you went down, which is just terrible stuff. And so I know the Worlds were going to be really important for you, so no Worlds. So does that mean that virtually this season you won't be lining up again, or will you just start doing some inter-season races to get going again?
Yeah, so no Worlds. It was an option just to do it. Obviously I was selected, but I think after the Olympics and knowing the shape I was in, I didn't want to just turn up for experience anymore, and I wanted to go to the Worlds and show what could have been at the games and put my best foot forward. So if I can't do that, I won't go. So I've got 2 weeks off now, which will give me 5 weeks in total of not riding, and then I'll build up for 6 weeks before Tour of Guangxi in China, and then after that just continue training for the summer of cycling basically. So have my big break now. Do China at the end of the year, which will be a bit of fun, and see how I can go there after 6 weeks of riding, and then keep building towards the summer of cycling, which we all know how much I love and can get motivated for.
And you get to try and win four Australian road titles and break the record in a row. Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the course is in my favour this time, so try go back to back in the TT. Obviously, Tour of Bright's first, and then after Tour of Bright, we can look at that 4th road title.
Now, it must have been an amazing. Look, you were in hospital for most of it, but just to be there. I know we saw Grace the next day after her gold medal performance in the hospital visiting you, and of course the trackies had to wait a little bit longer. But to be a part of that, where you were in the track squad with the bronze medal from the games before, it must have been frustrating to be laying in bed watching it, but you must have got a lot of pride from it.
Oh, for sure. It was pretty exciting being in bed and watching those boys go to work. That was pretty remarkable, and they've been going at it for so long now, especially Sammy being his 3rd cycle. He definitely deserves that, and it's pretty awesome for them. And yeah, with Grace, mate, like I stopped my warm-up halfway through basically to watch her cross the line and do her thing. It was really, really special to be able to do that whole build-up in Paris before the race and the recons and the warm-ups. And you could tell she was on and she was confident. So to see what she did, that gave me so much more morale and belief for myself as well. Like I got off and I was hugging everyone, and it was just great to see what she did. So that definitely helped me before my race. And I think in terms of the cycling team, it was a pretty awesome effort. Unfortunately, the boys and the girls couldn't get it done in the road race. But no, it was definitely awesome to be able to watch that from the hospital bed.
Now, we were just talking to Timmy Decker, and he loves you, but he got a bit of a dig at you. He said he was listening to a podcast. You were talking to someone, and you said they'd be lucky to get a medal. And he said, right, you tell Luke we did get a gold medal, mate. So he's having a go at you.
No, good, mate. I very, very happy to be proven wrong. Those boys, that was remarkable. That was super, super exciting, and I think basically put 3 perfect teams pursuits together. That was unbelievable to see what they were capable of, and Timmy's been hunting that medal for a long time, which is super special to see him get what he deserves. And I think especially what Timmy and Sam have gone through the last 3 cycles now, it's I think they got what they both knew they were capable of, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah. Well, thanks heaps, mate. And we will look forward to seeing you when you get back to Oz in, I guess it'll be November when you get back.
Yeah, end of October.
End of October. So we're having a Mahjong special get-together Christmas party at the end of November. So I'll let you know. And, we'll catch up and have a couple of quiet ones.
Beautiful. Sounds good, John. Cheers, mate.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Now, we talked iffy with Tim Decker earlier, and you didn't mention the Factor bikes. Obviously, that was a huge part of their success. And if you go to their website, factorbikes.com, you can see all the latest gear. But the one that is prominent on the website is the Hanzo track bike, iffy, as they say, the gold standard. And it was clearly fast.
It was fast, all right. I saw it. It was launched at the Tour Down Under back in January, and it did look fantastic. There it is there. I spoke to the boys, and they said it was super fast. And the Israel Primitive guys ride them on the road. And I know that Clarkey loves his Factor bike. And I've got one. Hang on, I'll lean over 1 sec. I'll grab it for you.
So this is great content for you guys that are listening to the podcast. John is holding up his Factor bike right now. It's actually pretty clean, which is surprising. Yeah, you can't hear me.
That one, mine's called the Vista, and it's one of the best bikes I've ever ridden. It's probably the roadies gravel bike. It's got very comfortable to ride. I've got the road tires on, but you can put really big gravel tires on as well. But it's a seriously good bike.
Well, speaking of this, you're talking about Simon Clark, the Ostro VAM 2024 Tour de France edition. You can get on the website as well and check that out. It's pretty sick looking paint job too, eh?
It looks fantastic. Mine's army green, so it doesn't look as good as that one. But gee, forgetting about the colour, it's the ride that counts. And they've done really well in just a short time. Factor bikes. And you know they came on board and built that track bike up. They weren't building track bikes, and now they've built probably the fastest track bike in the world. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, it's been unbelievable success for them in, as you said, a short period of time. So go to factorbikes.com and check out all their latest gear. And then, you'll be well on your way to, if you want to aspire to Olympic gold medal, hit the track, get on the bike, away you go. Now, Johnny, wrap things up. We're talking at the top of the show, Tour de France Femmes, that's just wrapped up. And you chat to an Aussie legend of the sport, Liz Hepple.
Well, Detour fans, we've got a special guest, one of the legends of Australian cycling, Liz Hepple. Now, Liz, for those who don't know, was the first Australian to get on the podium in the Tour de France back in 1988. She got third in the Women's Tour de France, which was, I think we'll get the update in a minute. I think it was a full 2 and a bit weeks back in those days, run in conjunction with the men's. And also finished second in the Giro that same year and rode in the Olympics in 1988 as well. So, Liz, welcome to the Detour.
Thanks, John. Great to be here.
Well, we've just finished the most amazing Tour de France Femme avec Swift. I've got to say, we were able to watch both the men's stages of the Vuelta and the final stage of the Women's Tour de France. And I was on both SBS channels. I'm flicking between the two. And pretty soon I just forgot about the men's Vuelta because the Tour de France was just so riveting. One of the most amazing stages I've ever seen. So just give us your reflections on that wonderful night.
It was, yeah. I think the format these days is, it really works for the women's tour at the moment. And to have it finish on the Alpe d'Huez was like sensational. And I think it was, it was always going to be fairly close, especially after Demi Vollering lost time when she crashed the other day. And I was a bit surprised that she was able to get away on the Col de Glenon, which was the one before the final Alpe d'Huez. But she did, and she was looking really strong. And it really, at that stage, it looked like that Katja Niodonna wasn't going to be able to keep her within the minute and 15 seconds or whatever.
Didn't look that way. Now, look, I thought we'll just dissect that. We'll dissect the tour in a minute, but I just wanted to just quickly reflect on when you rode the tour back in '88. It was in conjunction with the men, so you finished the same finish lines, only just before. That must have been a pretty special moment.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. Like, we got the opportunity to race before the men, so we would start further up the course than the men. So our start line might have been half the distance of the stage for the day. We would start before the men, but all the spectators were in place. There was we had the pretty much very similar support to what the men had. We crossed the same finish line, and then as soon as we crossed, we quickly had a shower and we hopped in our cars and we drove to the next town. So we rode, the first year I did it, it was almost 3 weeks that we raced for, which was a very long time because we were not used to racing that sort of distance. But it was like we were pinching ourselves at how lucky we were. It was just so exciting and such a privilege to be able to do that.
So we didn't have pro teams as they do now. It was national teams. So you're an Australian national team, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's right. That was the way. There was one or two women's professional teams, but not many. So all the the bigger tours, there weren't too many tours around at that time, but they were all based on national teams for the women. There was very little prize money. I think the prize money that we got for me coming third in the women's tour in 1988 was about $500 to split them up between. So yeah, so it was sort of well, yeah, it's nice. That'll shout us beers each for the night or something in Paris.
But they flew you over first class though from Australia, didn't
they? Listen, we paid our own way. For the first year, we paid everything. The second year, we got a bit more funding, and by the third year, we got better funding, and we also got the support of having a director sportive who at the time was Shane Bannon, and we didn't have to pay for it. Our first year, we even had to pay for the mechanic, so it was it was very budget. But once again, I don't regret or. I wouldn't have changed a thing because, it was just such a great opportunity to be part of that and be part of the excitement and the history of it.
Now, one of the most impressive things of the tour as it's grown over the last couple of years, because, a bit of pressure came on the organisation to put a women's race, so it was just a 2-day and then a 1-day. And now, the last couple of years, it's been a full-on tour and it's growing. But the fact that it's on its own and it's getting huge crowds. Now, let's get into this year's event. I mean, the crowds at the start in Rotterdam were just absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, they're just unbelievable. Well, not unbelievable. The Dutch are certainly the strongest women in the world, and they obviously they get the support of their country, which is probably one of the big reasons why they are so good, because it's obviously a prestigious sport in Holland, and the female riders are well recognised, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with them getting so much support. Other countries in the world aren't quite as they don't have as many top female women, but it's coming. I'm really optimistic that soon it's going to be a truly international sport, and there'll be really good competitors from every country.
Now, we talked about it. So it started in Rotterdam, and Charlotte Kool won the first couple of stages. Demi Vollering won the time trial quite well, although bad luck for Grace. That was her big chance to do something, and she punctured in the end of time trial.
It's bike racing, hey, puncturing.
It is.
Yeah.
But stage 5 was the surprise stage. Blanca Vass won it, who's a teammate of Demi. But when Vollering crashed, like just 7 or 8K out, no one from the team stopped, which I still can't get over, because in the end, it's what cost her the bike race. She chased on her own and lost that minute and a half. I can't work it out.
What I heard was they interviewed the winner and also, sorry, I forget who else was left in there, but they said the radios weren't working. And I kind of went, yeah, did they say that? But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and I guess I believe that they weren't working for them, and that could have created a big problem. I've never heard of radios not working in a major tour, so I think that's sort of like that was an absolute oversight. If they hadn't have been working, that they hadn't checked those that make sure that they would have communication, because I think every other rider in Demi Vollering's team were either in the crash with her or were behind. So that was the reason that there was only one woman that was able to help her. It was kind of like, what's going on here? And her teammate has won the stage and didn't wait for her. Why not? But the explanation was that the radios weren't working.
Same thing happened to Goodell in the World Championships that he won.
Yep.
I think he turned it off actually, but he said it didn't work. But anyway, it's another story. But as it turned out, look, we can talk about every stage, but that finale, it was just so special. I think we should just concentrate on that. I mean, it's the fact that New Adonna didn't. She just blew up going over that second last climb. She's just dropped, and I thought it was over. Game over, but she just recovered on the descent and kept it at that minute the whole way up to Wes. It was just an impressive ride. So as much as I felt for Demi to lose it by 4 seconds, it was a super ride by Cassia to be able to stay so close.
My understanding after listening to the interviews is that she basically not blew up, but she bonked. She hadn't had enough to drink, enough to eat before the Glandon. So she said that over the top and on the descent, she ate as much food as she possibly could, drank lots of biddens, and then she felt good or felt better on the outdoors. Having a great day, but I think you could absolutely put it down to her not drinking and eating enough. Probably prior to the Glandon, because it's not an immediate. It's just that it catches up with you when you bonk, and by the time you get food in you, it takes a little while to recover from that. So they all looked like they were really pushing it, and they were at their limit.
It was just man on man or woman on woman, as I say. It was just amazing. I reckon she would have been a bit upset with Avita Muzak, who rolled it for third if she had lost it by 1 second.
Oh, absolutely. But then that's the way the tour goes, right? And it's all's fair in love and war and bike racing, and but it's still, generally speaking, there's a really good vibe around the women's tour. Like they all commiserate with someone who has a bad day. Everyone feels it because they know what it feels like to crash or to have a setback like a puncture or something. So I just think I guess compared to the vibe, I'll call it, around bike racing 25 years ago or so, 30 years ago when I was racing, it was a lot more competitive, and there wasn't the same sort of support for other riders. And but now there's a lot more appreciation and congratulations for the top riders, as well as, that understanding that, hey, sometimes things don't go your way. So I love that.
I was impressed with, in the last couple of days, with Sarah Giganti, who is getting stronger and stronger, but it's frustrating to watch her descending or sitting in the bunch. She's just not good at it. She looked so strong over the Glendon, and then lost about a minute and a half going down the other side. And she did it the same earlier in the race. She kept getting lost out the back and back on. it's something she's really got to look into. She's got the potential to be, one of the best in the world, and she's one of the best climbers, but she's got a long way to go. But
I think it's sorry, I was just going to say I'm sure she's the one that's most frustrated by it. I think she's well aware that that's what's stopping her becoming, being on the podium in the Tour de France. I think also combined with that, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of, I guess, scrutiny of what she's doing, and so that probably doesn't really help. But personally, I know that when I did my first women's tour, I was Sarah. I was like off the back and on the descents. I was up there in the climbs, and then the descent had come, and I'd lose 50 places, and then I just went away and got absolutely determined to learn to descend properly. And I thought, well, I'm wasting my time if I don't really work on my descending and I don't get more confident doing it. And so the next year I came back and I could descend. It's just, it can be just this mindset switch where the switch just flicks and you can do it. But it doesn't take much to sort of like lose it then if you have a crash or something.
So just talking about the Aussies, the Liv Jayco Alula team really struggled with that with crashes. We lost Ruby Roseman Gannon altogether. The Spanish leader crashed badly as well, but it was impressive to watch young Neve Bradbury. I know her dad really well, and she's really become a bit of a star. She was unlucky to crash earlier too, but she was so strong in her domestic role.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic, and it's a little bit frustrating sometimes being riding to support their best rider in the tour. But on the other hand, she has got a great future, and she won that stage in the Giro d'Italia. So, she's only young. We will see a lot more of her. Yep. Which is great to see. It just makes me so excited to see these young women coming through and just living the dream. And it's hard. It's a really, really tough sport. Like, I don't have to tell you that, but there's going to be ups and downs, but you can see they just revel in it. They're having such a good time, but they know it's really hard work and it can be sort of like just torture sometimes, but it's great to see.
Look, we're about to wrap it up. I just want a couple of quick questions to leave on. Firstly, they didn't come much tougher than you, Liz. I mean, you were also become a top triathlete as well. So you managed to swim, run, do the whole kit and caboodle. But how would you like to be there as a professional in this current climate?
Yeah, I often ask that question because it's sort of like in some days, sometimes I regret not having the opportunity to be a professional and to do that sport and tour the world and make a living out of it. But I think the pressure of racing these days is a lot greater than the pressure that was on us. So I think it's probably, I mean, it was fantastic for us to be there, but and we didn't get the same accolades or the same audiences, but there wasn't that sort of like the pressure and the stress and the sort of the scrutiny of everything you do, and the sort of like, the I guess the haters out there that on social media who are always sort of like, don't do anything, but they love to sort of like criticize people online. So I think, yes, I would have loved to have, but I certainly know that these days there's a lot more stress. So I think that's the downside, but the upside is that they're getting a lot more attention and love, and I guess there's more and more women racing really well, so it's great.
And Liz, last one. What advice would you give to any youngsters just coming into the sport?
Oh, follow your dream. It's it's just know that there will be really tough times with bike racing. There will be times when you crash. There will be times when you get sick. There'll be times when you have poor form. There'll be times when things go wrong, but you have to keep your eye on where you want to go and focus on the good times, focus on the things that you do well, the great things about it, and just, keep trying. Sort of like if you get knocked over, get back up again and do it again. If you love it, yeah, just try and reach your potential.
Liz, thanks heaps, and you always were a star back in the 80s, and you still are. So thanks so much for joining us on the Detour.
No worries. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated. Okay,
Bye, Liz.
see you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Johnny, that was a big show, mate. A lot of interviews there, and geez, there's no dropouts. Isn't it amazing?
And amazing. We fixed the my microphone, which turned out to be just a little button I wasn't pushing it the right way. But no, we've got it all worked out. Headphones in, and look, great to be back on with you, Jonesy, as always. Look forward to our next one. I reckon we'll do one while the Vuelta's going, because we haven't spoken about the Vuelta, but it's the stage just
Caden Groves.
Caden Groves, a very, very good sprint. And that's his first win since the Vuelta last year. So he's been disappointed because he's a class act. Had an injury early in the season and took a while to get going.
Ripping bloke too. Ripping bloke.
Ripping bloke and ripping form. So I expect at least another couple of stages, another one tonight actually, from Caden. So we'll see.
Yep. Well, I'll be tuning in to see how my old mate George Bennett's tracking as well. He's looking lean, so he should go well in the second and third week. So we'll tune into that.
Eddie Dunbar too is another rider. Oh, he might be an Irishman, but he's in the Aussie team, and I know that he's been disappointed with the injuries and that he's had. He's out. I reckon we could see a top 5 performance from Eddie Dunbar.
All right. Well, stay tuned to all our social media, and we'll keep you updated as to when we're doing our next episode. And also, you've had a few people email you, john@cyclingevents.com.au, for Tour de France packages for next year. The Detour, which is going to be the 20th anniversary. Could be the last time. Is it the last trip?
Probably. Look, this year was first, other than COVID, the first one I've missed in 25 years. So I think if I get back there next year, which we're planning, I don't know that I'll ever stop. I think they'll be nailing the boxes when I'll stop, because I love it.
It'll all depend on your Google reviews. Let's hope that they're all 5 stars. So anyways, we said if you're interested in going to the Tour de France next year, there's packages for the first, second and third week. Email john@cyclingevents.com.au. So
well, we've had a few inquiries too. We've got 3 or 4 in the books already. So yep.
Keep them coming in. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll speak soon. And thanks to our guests today. Really appreciate their time. So.
Oh, mate, we absolutely cranked that. Fair dinkum. I haven't heard that good a voice out there since Barnesy days, mate. Barnesy. Mate, John Farnham. Like a kiddie house, mate. We smashed it, ripped it up.